Good. Hi guys, welcome to Qissa with the fabulous Harini and the representative of the common man, Aman, aka Aman, that's me. And today we're gonna be here to talk about some very dazzlingly diverse genres of movies, starting off with Guillermo del Toro's adaptation of the 200-year-old horror classic Frankenstein. And the lucky thing that we have today is that one person has not read the novel on which it was based, while the other person has. No prizes for guessing who did what. So we're going to start off with the person who hasn't read the novel to talk about how they thought the movie went.
Yeah, so the movie, usually like this is not the first time he has been depicted in a movie, right? There have been other variations in cartoons, and he's shown to be this scary monster kind of thing. In
Yeah.
this adaptation, it's like you're more empathetic towards the character of the Frankenstein, and it's like portrayed in a way you actually feel bad for the
Mhm.
character, and like overall, the whole movie itself, from the cinematography to the dialogues, it was just so perfect. Everything was so good. I ended up
Right,
crying.
right. I mean, I'm surprised that a Frankenstein movie could make a girl cry, but I guess the author of Frankenstein would be happy. The author of Frankenstein was herself a woman, Mary Shelley, and this book is a sort of milestone in literature because you had a woman who was writing one of the most definitional horror and science fiction stories. So, just to give a little bit of background into how this book came to life, Mary Shelley, her husband Percy Shelley, who was himself a very, very famous poet and who we ourselves have read in our literature classes, went on a vacation in Switzerland and they ended up in the chapel of another famous poet, Lord Byron, who was this very controversial, charismatic figure of the time. And to add some extra context on Lord Byron, not only was he a poet and a playwright and a writer and a lot of other things, he was also the father of Ada Lovelace, who actually created the first algorithm in human history. So, computer engineering owes itself to the guy who also inspired Frankenstein in a way. These
Mm.
guys had come in a chapel in Switzerland. They were planning on hanging out when suddenly a snowstorm hit and they were all stuck at home. So they were all stuck at home and they didn't know what to do. So Byron suggested that they should all sit together over the weekend and they should write a horror story to read to each other. And it was out of that little competition between three people in the house that Frankenstein was born. And there was another doctor in the same house who was Byron's physician, and he decided to write a book about a very charismatic man like Byron who was going around seducing women and leaving them heartbroken. That became Vampire. That is actually the foundation for Dracula and all these books. So Dracula and Frankenstein were born in the same house.
That's interesting to know that
Yeah.
they came out of the same. I didn't know that before.
Yeah. And another thing about Mary Shelley's version of Frankenstein is also that Mary Shelley, before she did Frankenstein, had actually had a miscarriage. So she was pregnant and she couldn't deliver the child. And a lot of people sort of speculate that, the idea of Frankenstein, where a man gives birth literally to a creature and the child creature grows up without a mother is about not only her own failed pregnancy but the fact that when she was a kid her father had his wife died early, her mother died early on, and the stepmother was not very happy with the closeness between father and daughters. So there was a huge gap that grew between the father and daughters. And Mary Shelley sort of felt like an unwanted child and who was sort of constantly ignored and neglected in the house. And that is also sort of reflected in the relationship between Victor Frankenstein and the creature he creates, because he also behaves like this toxic dad. And the whole idea that Victor's childhood is very troubled and problematic is not there in the novel. This is a completely new addition in the movie. But I think it works very well to like not only draw parallel between the author of the novel and her character, but also give us a certain sense of background into why it's sort of like how flawed parents sort of create a cycle of flawed children and their kids and that
Mhm.
sort of generational trauma, that sort of thing you see. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's nice that they added like this background story, not just for his character. I think like we get the background for a lot of characters in this movie.
Yeah.
So it made us like relate or empathize with these characters even more.
Yeah. And another character now that you mentioned is, the person who sort of bankrolls Frankenstein, right? The arms dealer and all that. I don't
Hmm.
know why it's not there in the novel. In the novel, it's actually about how far a person's ego can take you and how destructive an ego can be. So Frankenstein has a perfectly happy family, perfectly normal life. There is no reason for him to go out and try to figure out a way to conquer death. It's purely out of ego. But
Hmm.
I felt like Del Toro in this movie, by adding that arms dealer character who's very rich, who's profiting off of other people's suffering, and who also wants to conquer death, is sort of referring to our current situation where like a lot of our billionaires and like overlords are all obsessed with the idea of conquering death and being transhumans and overcoming humanity with the creation of AI and all. I thought, though it's not explicitly alluded, and maybe it would have been more interesting if we had that version of Frankenstein, that, Frankenstein's monster and all that, but with AI and a robot. That would have been a more modern edition, maybe in a sense.
Hmm.
But I felt like he was also trying to like draw parallel between that and this, because that character is completely non-existent in the book.
And like also the contrast between like Frankenstein and that character. Like that character wants to overcome death and like put his brain into this creature so that he
Yeah,
could live in some sort of way. And then there's Frankenstein who is like, what is the point of living? I can't even die. I can't even like live.
yeah.
That contrast is, yeah, I thought that contrast was nice.
And also, what did you think of the character of the fiance, who I thought it was very clever that he made the girl play a double role. They made Mia Goth play both Frankenstein's
Ah,
mother
yeah.
and his brother's fiance, and how she develops a bond with the creature. Because in the novel, it's actually that the creature is so fed up with Frankenstein's abuse and neglect that he sort of goes insane and goes on a murderous rampage and he kills the fiance. There's no relationship between the girl and the creature in the book. But here, there's this, it's almost like a love quadrangle. Like Frankenstein's in love
Mm.
with her, Frankenstein's brother is in love with her. The
Everyone
creature
is in love with.
the creature, you're not very sure. Is he looking at her like she's his mother, or what, is not very clear there.
Mm.
Yeah.
I don't think he was like in love with her or something. It's just
E-
like
Maternal
it was the
affection.
first, yeah, there was that kindness he received from that character
Yeah.
that he got attached.
Talking about the kindness that the creature gets, if you notice, the only other person who's really nice to the creature is a blind man.
Yeah.
So the man who's blind, it does not have any like partiality and convictions, and that is again not present in the book. The creature is almost like this abomination in the book. It's also like sort of with Christian mythology, like, God created Adam and Adam was cast away from Eve, and Adam is like a forsaken son and all that. That theme is there in the book, but here the creature is a lot better fleshed out. The relationship and the characters are a lot better fleshed out, and yeah, that I thought that was interesting. Although in a sense they sort of make Frankenstein more sympathetic. He's not as sympathetic in the book. He's
Mm.
just an asshole. But yeah, I thought the changes were very interesting,
Here,
and
the only reason like people were afraid or were people were like, targeting him is like he's different or he looks
yeah,
different. That was the only aspect. Like he wasn't like killing anyone on purpose. And there was nothing as such sort.
yeah, and
So yeah.
there's another thing actually. There is the concept of the monster demanding Frankenstein to create a companion for him. What happens
Mm.
in the book is actually that it's sort of about the dangers of science losing control. So the monster demands Victor and he threatens him that if you don't find me a companion, I will kill the people you love. So either you're happy and I'm happy. It's like that. But here again, because the monster is made more sympathetic, you notice it's always a bride that Frankenstein asks in the books, but here he doesn't ask specifically for a bride. It's actually
Mm.
Victor is reflecting his worst aspects onto the monster. So his desire for his brother's fiance, he's projecting onto the monster. So say, oh, now you want a girl, so now you want me to find another abomination for yourself. He never asks him for that very explicitly. So yeah, that aspect is also there in the no, in that aspect is different in the book and the movie.
Mm. Excuse
And
me. Yeah.
have you seen any of Del Toro's movies before Frankenstein, or is this your first one?
No, this is my first one. I haven't
Right,
seen it
because
before.
a lot of other Del Toro movies is very famous for his love of monsters. Like there are a lot of these movies where there's scary monsters, right? Like, there's
Mm.
Frankenstein, there's King Kong. Or what he does is he takes those monsters and he makes like very artsy movies around them. Like he tries to locate human loneliness, loss, suffering, female companionship, and all that. It's
Mm.
it's very fun to watch. It's like you're taking these like it's like he's saying a child's ideas and he's trying to like ground them in a more adult world and all that, which is very interesting. So, any final thoughts on Frankenstein or Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein?
No final thoughts on Frankenstein. I just wanted to say Oscar Isaac looked very good in the movie.
And not
That not
only
Jacob.
us, right?
Yeah, only
See,
Oscar.
even you have your biases,
And
but
yeah, all of them did great acting though.
yeah, but I think my final thoughts on Frankenstein would be that, from centuries, people have constantly confused Frankenstein, the creator, with his creature. So they keep calling the creature Frankenstein, which is not necessarily the
Uh,
case. But in a sense, Del Toro sort of, through his movie, sort of justifies why Frankenstein is a monster. And I think then the creature that looks like a monster, it's actually the man who's a monster. And
hmm,
for that, I think he definitely deserves a lot of praise and acclaim. This
yeah.
week in Hindi, we had a very interesting movie come up, which is Tere Ishk Mein. It's a very polarizing movie. I think the one unanimous opinion everyone can say is A.R. Rahman is incredible in the movie. Like, I cannot think of another composer who, 30 years into his movie career, makes a romantic blockbuster only on the basis of his songs, which is unbelievable. So I sort of wanted to start off, maybe compared to Anand Rai, I want to give more space to the woman here. So I want your thoughts first on Tere Ishq Mein.
It was like, see, all the actors acted really good. Like Dhanush, Prakash Raj, or Kriti. Everyone acted really good. The point was the plot was like it's so there was no proper you're left confused, and like there are like, so many unnecessary plots. Like if you wanted to show that angst or that anger or that emotion, pain, that kind of side of, I think he wanted to show that side of love, but it ended up looking like another version of like Arjun Reddy. Like you have this guy with anger issues, and there's this girl, and then from out of nowhere he brings this army aspect into it. And then there's this girl who is herself struggling emotionally, mentally, and then she is a counselor in this army thing. Like, I don't know how everything like connects. And also, till the end, I was really confused about like the female character's mind. Like, I couldn't figure out like what she was thinking, or like the whole story was more focused on the what the guy felt. Like, there wasn't much backstory towards Kriti's character, is what I felt like. I was not satisfied with what I was
Right,
expecting, like more from the trailer. I was expecting more, like I'm going to feel this emotion. Like nothing was felt. I was just
right.
left confused.
I mean, it's very funny that you mention Arjun Reddy and so maybe also Animal in the context of this movie, because if you take Arjun Reddy, it's very explicitly centered around the man. Like the woman, it's a very Ranbir Kapoor-esque movie, even though Ranbir Kapoor is not there in it. In that the movie is centered around the man's problems, the man's journey of self-realization and discovery, and the woman is almost like a prop. She's an event that occurs to him, which makes him react and reflect. But Tere Ishq Mein is a lot more even in that sense, in that both the man and the woman are two equally fucked up people. It's very hard to pick a side between the two of them.
Mm.
And even if the girl is going out on a selfish purpose, the movie doesn't slut shame her in a sense. It in fact lets her deal with her guilt and all that. And it's sort of in line with Anand El Rai's movies, which I'm not sure if you've seen earlier, like Ranjana or Zero.
No,
which
I
are
haven't.
about this very sort of abrasive love that is very true to our lives, but is very hard to depict in movies because it tends it tends to be very confusing and you're not sure whose sympathies you're going for and all that. Um, and like those movies, like Ranjana in the second half, it's also set in Banaras. In fact, there's a reference to Ranjana in Tere Ishk, right? When he goes to the funeral pyre and that Pandit comes and he tells him that I had a friend who
Mm.
died like this. That is actually a reference to Ranjana because that Pandit is the same character there. And so what these movies try to do is they show this man who's obsessive, who's like very complicated, who's in love with this woman, and the woman and him have a sort of difference, and he sort of does something very wrong to the girl by the end of the interval. And as soon as the interval turns to like pay to sort of find redemption for his sin or to sort of pay compensation for the suffering he's caused the girl, he enters the world of the girl and he tries to like help her or fix her in whatever way and ultimately sacrifices himself. And that's how he finds mukti or forgiveness, as the whole plot of the movie is. So in Ranjana, it starts off in Banaras, where it's like this Hindu guy, this Hindu boy is in love with this Muslim girl, and he sort of threatens her that if you don't tell me you love me, I'll cut my wrists and all. And she says she loves him, and then her parents figure out they send her away to like this to Delhi to learn study. She comes back. By the time this guy is sort of like trying to make nice with the father of the girl, like he's working there, he's helping him out everywhere and all that, so he can like get on good terms with him. But it turns out that this girl is in love with someone else from university and she's getting married to him. But it turns out that that guy is actually a Hindu guy who's pretending to be Muslim to get married to her. And this guy gets pissed that this guy's cheating them. So he goes and he exposes this guy in front of all of them. And what happens is these guys get so angry that this guy is trying to cheat them that they beat him up and he dies because of that. Now, because this guy died because of his actions, he decides that he has to like help her or sort of recompensate for that mistake. So he ends up going to Delhi, and these two guy, the guy and the girl in the movie, like Sonam Kapoor and Abhay Deol, are like student leaders something in JNU. So like now
Mm.
this guy goes into from Banaras just suddenly into JNU politics and all that goes to a completely different zone. And in Zero, which is like such a huge flop that like Shah Rukh Khan had to take a break and all, he makes even Shah Rukh Khan into these very fucked up love stories where Shah Rukh Khan is this dwarf who has a big complex about the fact that he's a dwarf and he falls in love with Anushka Sharma, who's like this NASA scientist who's on a wheelchair. But he feels like he can do better, or he feels like she's not enough for him, or he feels like he is a guy with a disability, so he gets to go with a girl with a disability, and he's not offended with that idea. So he goes after Katrina Kaif, who's like this popular actress and all, so he abandons her. But then he realizes he's done a mistake, and Anushka Sharma turns out to be pregnant with his child, and she gives birth to a kid. Now he wants to get closer to the kid and Anushka Sharma, so he goes to NASA, and somehow this uneducated dwarf from Meerut becomes an astronaut going to Mars, and
This
like
all
it's
seems like
yeah,
too
like
much
all
creativity.
yeah, it's very like it goes into like really weird zones. It's one of those things where it's they're not trying to do something routine, they're trying to do something very different, but they're doing something very different. It doesn't consistently land, but it's always fascinating to watch. Like in Tere Ishq it's the same plot, right? Like it's about, but here the difference is that the girl is actually the person who does wrong to the guy. The girl is the one who does a mistake, and as a recompensation she also wants to give her child to him, which is weird to
How is that
say.
recompensation?
I I I cannot put in words like
All
if
of them end up like in army. Somehow her husband is in army, and she
yeah.
she just assumes he's gonna die anyway and he's not gonna return. So you take care of my child.
Yeah, and it's genuinely hard to talk about this movie because you don't know at what point you're gonna start bringing out your own personal issues and all and projecting on them onto these characters. But I think one underrated part of this movie that no one is talking about is the fact that the guy and the girl are actually very similar people in the sense that they're both raised by their fathers. The hero's mother
Oh,
dies when he's a kid because of that trauma. The heroine's mother is also dead. We never get a hint into that, but they're very similar in that sense. And it's almost like this. Kriti Sanon her whole idea that anger can be replaced by love is a very feminine idea, and she's almost trying to mother him into being someone else. And you get the impression that like now Dhanush is looking at her like this very pure motherly figure almost.
Hmm.
And I mean, God, I don't know how to describe this movie, man. It's so weird. And
That
there's
ending itself, like, just threw me away.
and even the
Everything, like,
ending sort of makes sense in the overall thing because Dhanush's mother is supposed to have died in a fire trying to save a child. And that's
oh,
also what Dhanush does in the movie, right? He also dies by fire and like he overcomes his trauma and all. Like there's a lot here, but it just doesn't come together very well. Like it's all over the place. Like it's like Ranjana or Zero. Like why is he doing UPSC? Why is he in the army?
why
Why is he
is
in the
he
Air
in
Force?
army? Why is her husband in the army?
Yeah, like a lot of it is just I understand the idea of it, like, but it's all too complicated. But you can't
Hmm.
stop thinking or talking about it, and which is why I think it worked very well. Like there are certain aspects that hit you hard, especially like Prakash Raj's character aspects or the class differences between them, which I thought was you usually don't see that difference. It's either like rich guy is very cruel to poor girl, or poor girl or rich girl is very cruel to poor boy. It's not that here. It's very real in the sense that the girl actually thinks, okay, it is all very exciting that I'm with this guy and all, but how do I live with him now? Like we're too far apart. And
Hmm.
I think maybe they should have focused on that aspect more, which is also why because it's very relatable, and I also think that's why Prakash Raj's character stands out best because that particular aspect, especially that scene between him and like the girl's father, really, really brought out that lining.
Hmm. And the scenes, like, even Prakash Raj's scenes with Dhanush itself, like, were very, like, nicely shot. And whenever
Yeah,
Prakash Raj was on screen, it was nice for me.
right.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, it's hard. You don't even know
Whenever
how
it
to.
was Dhanush, it was always like he's very angry. And whenever it was her, and it was always like she's depressive and she's an alcoholic. So there's
Yeah,
no mid.
it's yeah, those that's the way his
Yeah.
movies are. It's about like these extremely fucked up, messed up people, and it's compelling to watch, but you don't know what to make of it at the end. Like you're just lost. Like we're not able to find a proper conclusion to our conversation about this. So let me just conclude by saying. Again, the best part of these movies is A.R. Rahman. I don't know what attracts Rahman in these movies that he puts so much soul. Like the songs, everyone remembers these movies only for the songs. Like Ranjana exists for the songs, Atangere exists for the songs. This movie also exists for the songs. So maybe I should just conclude by asking, what is your favorite song in the movie and why?
I did not pay attention to the songs in the movie, except the main title song, which literally plays every chance it gets on my Spotify, like the ads. And so I
Right,
ended up listening to only the title song. In the movie, I did not pay attention to the songs.
right. I,
I
I,
will
I
now, after you complimented it so much, I will go listen to
Right.
it
I
now.
mean, my favorite, I'm stuck between two, but my favorites are actually three. It's a very good album, but there's one song, it's called Usse Kehna. You know, the one that starts playing very quietly at the end, like Usse Kehna, Aaj main na
Hmm.
kisi ka raha. It's like this sort of, this sort of you're musing about someone you've lost and you're very quiet and you're just lost and you're trying to process that and it suddenly hits those high notes and again it comes down. It doesn't hit like it's not a ballad. It's very plain, very simple. It's this very classical Rahman song like Roja, like that song in Roja, like Na Chali Roja Ve or something, like it's just him singing small like Na Chali Roja Ve Na no no, and suddenly it hits high and again it goes down and like so it's very reminiscent of that.
Hmm.
And another song I really liked is Avara Angara, which has the singer from Sayara Fahim sing it.
Ah.
Avara Angara. It hits. The thing I like about the song is, mostly the singer because it's a very high note song. It's very high pitch. And usually with Arijit, even in Tere Ishk, he sort of starts slurring when he sings the high notes. Like he starts mumbling and all through that. He does
Hmm.
it deliberately because other songs he is very much in control. But I really like the fact that he had so much control. The singer in the song had so much control over hitting such high notes. And the song is just very nice. Like Again, this is one of those albums where every song is a sad song. Every song is about loss or longing or depression. It's the saddest movie I've seen in a long time.
I will go and listen to it now. I
Yeah.
think I like
And
them personally.
and there's one more song called Divana Divana, which is like this qawwali with electrical instrumentation and all. And again, that song also is very, very nice because obviously Rahman Qawwali is like a it's like a short combination, but he again brings a very distinct signature, and like it's again about loss and longing, but it's loss and longing in a more philosophical sense. It doesn't feel like specific sense. Like there's this one particular line in that song, like हम खुश ऐसे डूबे तुझ में लूटे कि हम खुशबू में या खुशबू थे. Like it's basically like he's wondering if he's so lost in her that either he's become her fragrance, like he's reflecting her everywhere he goes, or he's lost in her fragrance. Like he's not able to tell his identity apart from how lost it can usually in these Sufi Qawwali songs. It plays both sides. It's either about God and about love. So either you're so lost in God or you're so lost in love. They sort of see love and God as two sides of the same coin. So I thought that song really brought it out very beautifully, and the guitars and the electric guitars are just superb, the riffs and all that. Yeah. So yeah, thanks to Tere Ishk for giving us a good Rahman, a really great Rahman album, probably the best album of the year. Is That's how I would
And then
like to
I'll go
conclude.
and listen to it after this video.
You should. And talking about albums, we've got the drop of the year. We've got the legendary Isai Arakan, Mr. Sai Abhyankar's Dude OST, and true to everyone's expectations, there are like 30 versions of Oorum Blood. I don't know.
Yeah, I think like total he released two albums, no, side A and side B. I
Yeah,
think side B contains all Oorum Blood variations, and side A is like the background OST
yeah,
most of the time.
and it's amazing how you can't choose which version of Oorum Blood you like the most. Do you like the
All of them are nice.
Yeah, do you like the Tottale Pattasa climax slow-mo version, or do you like Dude Oorum Blood
The
version
Brazilian
Brazilian?
version,
Which sounds like something
Rage
Kim
Rock.
Kardashian. It sounds like something Kim Kardashian would have done for herself.
First time when I heard that Oorum Blood song, that first release, the original full
Yeah,
version, I was like really confused. I did not like the song. I was like, where is the song going?
it's all
There's
over
this
the
part where
place.
it's like,
Like,
it was all over the place. It was like there was this melody in between, and suddenly they're rapping, and then there was like that main part, and I was so confused. I did not like the song. The more I listened to it now, the more I'm like, Sai Abhyunkar was on my Spotify Wrapped. I did
to be
not
honest,
expect.
this time Spotify Wrapped is apparently AI generated, so like a lot of people are getting misplaced artists and versions and all. There's a lot of so it's
Ah.
just saying, just
But I
saying.
did listen to Sai Abhyankar a lot towards the end.
Yeah, but I'm actually sad for Sai Abhyankar. Apparently, his next movie, he's gone from working for the hero of Dragon to the hero of Coolie. What a what a
Oh,
fall! Not a fall. I mean, it's just irony, but like it's just funny. It's just funny. Like that this guy is like Anirudh. It took 10 years for Anirudh in his career to work with Rajini, and he's Rajini's nephew.
this
And
guy
then
is just
like Sai Abhyankar next Rajini movie also him. It's just very funny. Like.
Sai Abhyankar is also an epo kid only. But
Huh,
like,
but
yeah.
it's very funny though, like Rajini's nephew had to grind so much to work for Rajini, and like Sai Abhyankar just one Oorum Blood 50 times he puts in different versions, and next Rajini movie
In
is like
slowed down version, fast
yeah,
version.
yeah, like I'm waiting to see what he does for Rajini also, like, but I feel like it's a
Yeah.
welcome change. They should not have Anirudh do music for Rajini movie anymore. It's just very boring after a point.
He's made this Malayalam song also, right? Which was really good. It went viral.
Jalakari or something. Yes,
Yeah. Like literally
yes,
all of the songs he has made till now has gone viral.
yeah. I mean, thing is.
Lovely.
Also, he's got catchy beats, and one thing about his songs is right. The criticism of it is valid that song is not uniform. Like they're different. You can almost cut them into different blocks. What is happening is because they're different blocks, it's working very well for reels. So like Asakuda,
Hmm.
you can have different versions of the same song in different reels. Or what is that? Sitara Putri. What's the other one?
Uh,
What's the
that
first one?
Asaki,
Kachisera.
Kachase.
Kachi, that also
And the other one also, the with the other girl in the sunflower field.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, that was not a big
Everything
hit,
went
but
well.
he's
Yeah.
splitting it into it's very reel worthy. It's that other composer doing very good work was like the composer of Dragon, great songs he gave, but it's very sadly not enough reels. So Sayab Yankar after Raja after A.R. Rahman, I don't know, maybe it is
No,
Sayab Yankar.
it's like
He's
every reel I see has like some kind of dude OST in the
yeah.
background.
I particularly laughed, at that F1 thing where like he's flying and he's driving. In the climax where like he's flying and the car goes and they started playing Tottale Pattasa for that. I was laughing my god. Imagine like next movie they're like
No, if it's like a
F1
slow mo
sequel
funny video
Hans
that you
Zimmer.
get that third.
Yeah. Hans Zimmer replaced with Sayab Jankar for F1 sequel featuring Brad Pitt or something. It is gonna happen.
And if it's like a sad thing, you get that Kannukulla.
Yeah,
And if
yeah,
it's
yeah.
eh, like each song has a vibe, and each like it is
Yeah,
following up with the reels.
yeah.
Like
It's very
marriage nowadays, like that marriage thing
yeah,
is
that
going
Nadaswaram thing
viral.
is insane. And it's like sad flashback. It's like, "Unatana paathika," that comes up. It's yeah, genius Sai Bankar. Sorry, yeah. Like what did A.R. Rahman do with Roja? Nothing. What did Ilayaraja do with Dalapati? Nothing. It's Sai Bankar with dude. I'm
And
not even sure
considering
if
he's like a young guy, that too.
no. See, even Rahman was like in his 20s when Roja came out. So
Mm, also,
music,
Nepo kids.
yeah, yeah. But Rahman is
So he
not
has a lot
technically
of.
a nepo kid. With music, it's usually when you're younger, you're better because you have fresher ideas. The older you get,
Mm,
you sort of lose track with technology, which is why I was praising Rahman so much for Tere Ishk because not only the songs are are nice or catchy or you can hear them, they're very fresh. They're very late. They're very upgraded in terms of listening experience. Like you listen to Taman songs, it sounds like it was composed at some roadside dhaba. It's extremely cheap mixing quality. Like Rahman technologically has been like very, very ahead of everyone. Like AI, virtual technology, whatnot he's done. So yeah, that. But like Saya Biancar is giving him a run for his money soon. So
I like how it went viral in like other languages as well. Like I don't know about Tamil, but like in Telugu also, the Telugu
yeah,
audience
Telugu.
is also like very much connected with this album. Like
Yeah,
Telugu versions of those songs also,
but
yeah.
that is because Telugu and Tamil are such similar languages. Our songs and movies tend to travel very easily. It's a very similar cultures, very similar languages and all that.
Mhm.
Yeah. And also speaking about Telugu and Tamil, we had a Telugu Tamil bilingual that released last month, which might be coming out on OTT soon called Kaantha. And I feel like this is one of those movies that had a lot of it has a lot of great potential. It's still good, but I feel like if they had done a little bit more work on it, especially the second half, it would have been a genuinely great movie. So there isn't much talk about it. So we'll just talk about like a brief 2 minutes. So what were your thoughts on Kanta?
I was expecting like a more complex backstory towards like more story focusing on why this master and that student had that kind of like ego,
If
or like they had
yeah,
this kind of like cold war going on. So like yeah, that drift, I wanted like the story to focus more on that.
yeah,
Like, and then suddenly in the second half it's just like this crime thriller, and then
yeah.
Rana comes and like, oh, I wasn't expecting it to go into like crime. I was more expecting to like it to be like a drama oriented
I mean,
thing where
in a
you're
sort
like,
of very funny way, the movie is about an actor trying to like take over a director's project. And Kanta, the movie itself feels like that in the end because the only thing you remember is Dulquer Salmaan.
yeah,
And there is the whole because the second half explicitly is like, how good can this guy act? Even in the movie itself, because he eventually gaslights everyone around him into thinking he's the innocent guy. And the second half itself is like, okay, look, watch Dulquer act with Samudra sitting on that chair. Watch Dulquer holding that body and crying. Watch Dulquer sitting in front of those mirrors and bashing his head. Watch Dulquer revealing the secret to his mentor. It's just watch Dulquer. The whole second half is just him. I mean, it's a
yeah, it's
super performance though.
And like even like Bhagyashri got a lot of praise for this movie. Like not a, I wouldn't
Rightfully
say a
so.
lot of praise. Maybe it is because like her other movies haven't like showcased her acting skills much.
Yeah, but
Like
she was
yeah,
superb here. Like, uh, my mother, who's usually not like when she saw her act, and she's like, this girl could have done Savitri in the Mahanati biopic.
yeah,
Yeah, she was really good because there's a certain immediate emotional connect, the ability to switch facial expressions, that sort of external. In older movies, I don't really buy this notion that older movies had bad acting, because it's mostly like we tend to. It's if a movie is good, if it fits the milieu and sensibility of that movie, it works. So older movies, it's not about externalized acting. Like, you show the emotion on your face, you
yeah, more
show how it's.
expressive.
Yeah, it's almost like classical dancing almost. And I think she really did a good job there. And shame on Ravi Teja and Hari Shankar for making her like a glamour doll and whatever. I mean, oh my God. But again,
So
Dulquer thing
even
still
in
stands.
Kingdom, all her scenes were cut up from the movie.
Yeah, yeah. And since we are ending our session for today, so we look forward to December, where we have Avatar Part 3 coming up, and apparently the movie is as good as the first two parts. And we've got another bunch of exciting movies that are coming up in Malayalam, where Dulquer's dad is going to show how he's Dulquer's dad, hopefully by playing a serial killer and all. So very excited for that. And we've got a lot of catching up. We've got a lot of catching up to do on some recommendations and stuff. So we'll see
You
you
should
next
watch
time.
Zootopia.
I have seen Zootopia. I haven't seen part two though.
The
Have to watch
second one,
that.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I have to. It's nice to see a Disney movie do well.
Hmm.
Yes. And that's all our thoughts for today. If you want to know more, and more importantly, if you want to